All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Watches and Style channel. This is your host, Young Brando, with a very, very special guest. I was just gonna show you a photo that was taken of us at Watch Time New York in one of the related events, actually, to say, hey, he is actually my friend, but he actually obliged me to come in and share this moment. So I'm very happy to welcome Jason. How are you, Jason?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you for having me. So live from Switzerland. It's 2 a.m. right now, so it's gonna be fun.
Well, I'm inhabiting that state of mind whatever time is, so it doesn't really matter. It
Perfect.
doesn't change anything for me. We are going to watch some of the video together, but I will talk a little bit about how I met Jason and what he's doing at the moment, and maybe he will talk a little bit about his collecting habits and his
Mhm.
aspirations and his new venture a little bit after that, and then we are going to actually have his doppelganger on the screen with the Swiss watch gang and actually go through his collection. Jason is one of the wonderful people I met in New York at Watch Time New York. Actually, I met him through a common friend, another Jason, as it happens. Shout
Right.
out
Mhm.
to the watch designer at Instagram. Great guy. And, we immediately established a connection. And, of course, watches were at the heart of it, but Daniel Roth specifically, because Jason is really enthusiastic about Daniel Roth, the brand, and Daniel Roth, the man, as well, with everything he brought into the revival of mechanical watchmaking and this new era of wristwatches that we are still living through. Everything that he did with reviving Breguet, under the Chomet brothers, um, and of course everything he did with his eponymous brand, and perhaps even beyond. And Jason, beyond that, of course, collects a lot of other pieces from independent makers, and even some humble Rolexes, we can say. Um, but I just want to again say how much I appreciate that you actually came here yourself, Jason. Tell us a little bit about how you got involved in watches, what made you collect, and what drives you forward today.
Um, I'll be very honest with you. This is what we're doing now. So basically, we met for me in another part of the globe. We clicked because we talking the same language. We love the same things, and then we have this kind of very young but let's say strong connection between two enthusiasts, two aficionados who share the same values. And then we can talk about beautiful watches and beautiful watchmaking for hours, and pay respect and tribute to people who were involved in creating little components and then assembling those components, but who were these people were actually capable of counting time, which is to me the ultimate luxury. Um, how I was first involved. Well, I was dreaming about beautiful
Mhm.
timepieces. I was dreaming. Again, I'm not coming from a family where it was something, so we never even talked about it. So I was just reading about beautiful watchmaking. So when I started my study, I was uh, very much into sport, and then fast enough. I knew that I couldn't live out of my sport. So I said, well, I have to do maybe something else. And then what do I like? What do I love? I love
Maybe
cars.
we have more in common
Oh,
than you
yeah.
thought. I'm also a failed athlete.
Okay. Yes, and then you see, I told you you create this kind of connection with people for a couple of hours, and then later you know why. So yeah, and then yeah, quickly enough. So I said, well, maybe I have to push to the point that I maybe choose what I'm going to do. So it was either cars, either watchmaking. To be very honest, I might be maybe a bit too conservative, but I'm not really into the electric cars, and I know that's due to the pressure for the environment and what we have to behave and make sure that we don't use the kind of engine I like.
Mm.
So the car industry was not an option anymore for me. But then I said, well, this is watchmaking. This is, they went through the what I can compare, with the quartz crisis. I feel that the electric crisis in cars
Yeah.
right now.
You know,
So they've been, yeah.
funny enough, also, the more you talk, I
Mhm.
sense in your passion a certain attachment to the mechanism,
Oh yeah, for
that
sure. Yeah.
drives these objects, but also a very deep respect for the art and artisanship that goes into creating them, maintaining them,
Exactly.
and carrying
Exactly.
them forward to the next generation. And that's perhaps what brought you to some of the brands that you treasure a little
Exactly.
more.
Exactly. I've been lucky enough to visit some very beautiful car manufacturers. I visited Ferrari. I visited even Bugatti. But visiting a beautiful manufacturer operating in watchmaking is something else. So yeah.
So this is amazing to hear. Well, speaking of uh, art as it relates to watches, of course, the motto, the slogan of Daniel Roth
Mhm.
was precisely that, right? The watch, the wristwatch
Mhm.
specifically, as an
Yeah.
object
Yeah.
of
Art.
art.
Mhm.
But you can perhaps share with us a little bit about your new venture, Art Curacy,
Mhm.
and what perhaps also distinguishes it from perhaps similar um, ventures, because I think there is something special there as well.
Well, again, it's a matter of passion. When I started, it was, let's say, I jump into the unknown because I was leading the sales at Beauvais at that time, and then it was a very nice position. I was handling the huge part of the world for Beauvais, and then I jump into something that was like, you know what, I want to try by myself. Because at the end of the day, I love watchmaking so much that expressing my passion for only, let's say, one brand is not enough for me. So I said, I'm gonna try by myself. So it was during the COVID crisis. Um, 99% of my clientele was abroad, and I was stuck here in between France and Switzerland without the possibility to travel. But I said, you know what? I'm gonna learn more. I was let's say good, um, uh, and still when it comes to beautiful independent watchmaking, but not so much about vintage pieces. So I learned a lot. I spent days reading from different sources and then crossing everything and making my own opinion. And then some people, some very important client that I had at that time when I was an employee, they said, "Well, we trust you, so we might ask you, to maybe create for us." So, and then this is how it started. So I said, you know what, this is for the where I want to pay a tribute of the beautiful watchmaking and the art of counting time. So the art of precision, art accuracy, so accuracy. Um, and basically it was the beginning of my journey as an independent entrepreneur, in the watchmaking industry.
That's great to hear, because I didn't actually know the backstory
Yeah.
of this venture. So this is great. Do you think
Mhm.
we should go into watching the video together a little bit?
Yeah,
Um,
that might be funny, to have your feedback. Yeah.
and we can also interrupt it once every so often. Now,
Hmm. Hmm.
funny enough, because I was genuinely, as much as I love Jason, I was genuinely not expecting him to turn up. So I saved it for this occasion. I haven't watched it even a single time. I haven't even skimmed
Okay.
it,
Wow.
even though I have the benefit, of course, of having seen some of these watches over the weekend at
Hmm.
Watch Time New York, and also the additional benefit of um, having them very elaborately and artfully explained to me through photographs and with very great, if not extreme, attention to detail by Jason himself. So I have some familiarity with the collection, but not this video.
Hmm.
Um, so let's go. We'll watch it, and feel free to just jump right in and tell me to stop if you have
Hmm.
to
Hmm. Hmm.
interject or further explain anything.
So maybe just before you play the video, I'll just tell you that this is something, this is let's say photography of my collection right now. But obviously, this might change over the time. I'm about to say over the month, because I'm still expecting some very nice pieces to come. So it's gonna be, we'll make the family grow for sure.
Amazing. Well, you can, whenever you feel like it, and if
Uh-huh.
it's okay to already share,
Uh-huh.
you can
Hmm.
maybe, related
Hmm.
to this piece, I have this,
Okay. Hmm.
some other thing coming in, maybe
All
that
right.
can be something we do.
Hello, welcome to Swiss Watch Gang, obviously the channel which shows you watches you've never seen before. And today we have another collector video on our hands here. I am accompanied by my very good friend Jason Chevrolet. How are you, my friend?
Marco, always a pleasure.
Thank you for coming to our new studio. Basically, we have this space for a while now.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
now fully furbished and actually ready to shoot. We also rent it out, so if you guys want something like this, let us know. But today we are doing something which
That's amazing. Anything from collection interviews to rap videos. That's a very broad
Well,
portfolio.
Marco is gonna tell more about how we met, but
Ah,
Marco is a very good person. Started from nothing. I remember like the day he started, like it was yesterday, and now I'm very also very proud of his journey as in independent. YouTube person, but also a camera person, because he has this recipe. He can shoot very quickly and almost perfect shots, anytime pieces, and he's very talented.
yeah, he's himself, I think, a great example of an entrepreneur in the
Hmm. Hmm.
horological space, maybe
Yeah,
in less traditional
yeah, for sure.
ways, which also is a way of saying, of
Oh,
course,
yeah.
innovative, right?
Mhm, mhm.
It's great.
I didn't dream about doing like when we first met, because I met Jason 2016, 17, when I had no Swiss Watch Gang channel, where there was no like YouTube at all. You were the first person to basically, help me out. Also the brands you were working with back then, to give me some money for pictures, basically. So thank you for that. Huh?
Good memories for sure.
Good memories.
And
yeah.
I
Now
feel
we're here. Huh?
Yeah, now we're here. Now we're
very cool.
here.
So tell us, Jason, how did you come into watches? What's the story?
Long story short, because like I can go through a lot of details, emotion and stuff, but basically I started with watches through magazines, so paper.
Yeah.
So never had like the chance to touch it, in the middle, but only like reading. I can go through a lot of watches through magazines.
I actually just want to stop here to
The
rule over
surprise.
over this. Kenny, since you shared some of the story that you're talking about, or I'm guessing at least, can you tell me a little bit more about what brought you into Daniel Roth specifically, and maybe we can say a few things about the different pieces here as well.
Yeah. So it's a very funny story, and I don't know if you've seen, but Daniel Roth, they have this, the Arnault family revived the brand a couple of years ago, and then they asked me to join them for a very special interview because I was talking with them about my passion for Daniel Roth and also the fact that I'm collecting Daniel Roth. And they said, well, you should join us for a series of video clips. And I mentioned this story, but at the end it was edited because the real story is the following one. I don't know. I hope they won't blame me for sharing it with you now. But so when I started working in this industry, the person I was working for told me that they had this private sales at Bulgari. And you know that at that time, so Daniel Roth was acquired by Bulgari. And when I visited the private sales, I bump into something that I can describe like if I was holding it right now. It was a Tourbillon perpetual calendar in platinum, Daniel Roth. So it was the hourglass era, but it was not a first series, but it was number 1 out of 15 pieces, brand new, and sold for extremely cheap. And when I saw the piece, I was like, wow, this is something. So I spent, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 minutes just watching staring at the timepiece and touching it and turn it in every like different angle. And I said, well, I want it. So please bring me the papers. I buy it. Even though it was, let's say, cheap, it was still too expensive for me.
Of course. Well, I mean,
So
even the cheaper perpetual calendar tourbillons don't come all that cheap, I think.
Yes, exactly. So what happened is that right after I signed the agreement that I said I'm buying it, I told them I might need a couple of days or weeks to proceed with the payment. So please be patient. They said, yeah, okay, no worries. So as I'm going outside, I'm calling my mom. I was like, Mom, I might need some extra money. She said, well, son, we don't have this kind of money. And then I was like, I was riding a motorbike at that time. It was my only vehicle. And then I was like, counting, if I sell everything I have, can I buy it? And sadly, even though the number was with a huge discount, the invoice with a huge discount because they were getting rid of the, let's say, Daniel Roth product because they were selling at that time only like Bulgari stamp on the dial, even though they kept the shape. So it was still too expensive for me. So I had to call them like 2 days later, and I said, well, I apologize, but I won't be able to purchase this beautiful timepiece. So since this day, I was like, wow, this is something I need at some point in my life. and then I started collecting like rare Daniel Roth not long time ago, to be very honest, because obviously, as you can imagine, when you're employee, you live in Switzerland, and it's very expensive. Even though I used to have like very good wage for my age, and that's it. I was like, well, I have to, it has to make some sense at the end of the day. I cannot get like go all in for a beautiful timepiece. Doesn't really make sense. So I started collecting Daniel Roth pieces with the very first one was the chronograph at the left on the screen, and this chronograph was the property of one of a very good friend. Yes, a very good friend, very knowledgeable collector. So this is a unique piece. And then he called me and said, "Well, am I?" He is very emotional. He's this kind of collector. He knows the value of this piece. He
Yeah.
knows the importance of Daniel Roth for this industry. We talked about Daniel Roth for hours together over the phone. But he said, "Well, I think that maybe it's your turn to own it."
So that
I said,
was
"Well,
the first Daniel
yes,
Roth piece that
exactly."
you got to acquire.
Exactly. So that was the first one. So it turned out that it's a unique piece. So that's something very
It's a
nice with the
beautiful
so
combination with the black dial and
exactly
case.
black line dial, yellow gold case, and white gold hands. So yeah, and funny story is this is also the first time when I met the new team behind so La Fabrique du Temps and Daniel Roth. I told them, hey, I have this piece, the 101. I showed them. They said, wow, you own this one? I said, yeah. Why? And they told me it's pretty famous. Like we use it as the cover as our internal catalog at La Fabrique du Temps. I said, yeah, that's mine.
Well, it's also, inside and out, it's a very storied piece as well. Daniel Roth's own cooperation with the Le Mania manufacturer
Lemania, yeah,
is of course well known, and this
exactly.
has the base of the CH27 that so many brands have used for legendary chronographs like the Moonwatch,
Exactly.
to perpetual calendar chronographs like generations of
Yeah.
Pateks.
And we can name, yeah, Patek Philippe, Vacheron Constantin, Roger Dubuis, and Breguet and Daniel Roth for sure. Yes, the
And even
23.
Audemars Piguet when they
And
combine
even
chronograph
AP,
and
yes,
tourbillon.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, even AP, yeah. So it's a beautiful chronograph movement, and Daniel Roth was part of it in the development of this movement with Lemania. So again, it was something that I really wanted. He knew it. My friend knew it, and this is how it happened.
Amazing. And also you kind of broke into two. That first Daniel Roth you saw, you have the tourbillon regulateur and also an open worked version of the perpetual calendar. Would you like to say
Yeah.
anything about those?
Yeah. So basically, again, like the second piece was the perpetual calendar. So a special combination, skeletonized with the Volute en taille douce engraving on the main plate. And so platinum case. And this module, and it has been developed. So Mr. Roth introduced and mentioned the fact that in 1991, during Bazaar World, he was coming with something new, never made before. Unfortunately, he was not capable of doing it at that time by himself, and unfortunately could not respect the time frame. But in 1893, so he came up with this module developed with Mr. Philippe Dufour, and this is the world first instantaneous jump. And this is something like, for a wristwatch, something, it uses a lot of energy, but also you have to keep the precision when everything jumped at midnight. It was something never made before for wristwatch and for a collection, and not only like unique piece or something like this. So it was something. It was something, and then this version is so the platinum case. It carries the GP movement. So let's say it's the Mach 2. And this was my second Daniel wrote. And funny story, it's number 10. So
the perpetual calendar is number 10 as well.
The perpetual calendar is number 10. It has the special main plate with the Volute Anti-Douce engraving. And then when I bump into the Tourbillon, which is very special too, special execution with the Volute Anti-Douce engraving on the main plate, and it's also number 10. So I said, well, I have to, this is the one.
The amazing thing about both of those watches is that they both exhibit a daring inventiveness in terms of the mechanism. Whether it is translating the idea of tourbillon into a wristwatch as an almost aesthetic experience, which was one of course, Daniel Ross' gifts to the horological world, or the instantaneous perpetual calendar, as you have just mentioned. But they combine that sort of mechanical innovation, or that sort of mechanical innovation is already hand in glove with a very aesthetic treatment too, with the open work presentation, whether it's partial or full, and of course with those special engraved main plates, which really sets apart these two examples.
Yeah, I agree. But then, I feel that he was a leader at that time, and we owe him, the new area of independent watchmaking. We owe him so much, because he was capable at that time of keeping his value, his DNA, but then exploring new territories at the very same time, which was again, it was not as easy as it is today for independent watchmaker to live out of their passion. So it was something.
Yeah, I mean, and he did. I mean, we don't need to get into this right now, of course, but he did bump into certain obstacles on the road, which of course
big time.
led to the Hourglass acquisition and the Bulgari acquisition that you talked about already. But yeah, wow, look at this. This is also a great shot again, thanks to Marco and Swiss Watch Gang.
So you see the very nice architecture of the movement, but also the very readable functions.
Yeah, just also those heat-tempered, blued steel hands.
Yeah.
Make it both very beautiful and very legible at the same time against those Breguet frosted tracks.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so let's listen a little more. Let's see what you say there.
Details, emotion, and stuff. But basically, I started with watches through magazines, so paper.
Yeah.
So never had the chance to touch it, in the middle, but only reading about watches and beautiful watches. And basically, I'm very basic, to be very honest. I like mechanical stuff.
Very basic collection.
I like mechanical stuff. I like cars. I like watches. The watch is something that you are always carrying on you, your skin. It's a bit more private, So watches as something very special, the meaning of watches to me, but also as human being, we're just passing on this planet. And I always admire people, actually watchmakers, being capable of creating something we can actually count the time.
Yeah.
I always dream about being able to do it myself. Unfortunately, I try from time to time. I'm not good at it.
Yeah, same.
So
not gonna be a watchmaker anytime.
Yeah, not in this lifetime.
Unfortunately not.
So yeah.
Good old days. So I was doing a lot of sport. I was national athlete. in mountain bike in France. And then I was studying at the National Center for Athletes. And then it was obvious that at that time I could not live out of it. So even though I was not the best, to be very honest, but at that time only one French rider was living out of his passion and out of this sport. So I was like, I got to do something about it. So I went to like business school. And then I did my very best, even though I never like really enjoyed school, but I did my best to go to the very top of it. So I have a Polytechnic South of France diploma, Master 2, Master of Science. And then I have another Master 2 in management and entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, maybe that's going to be good enough. So I'll try my best to get an internship in the watch world. So no connection at that time. I'm coming from a very modest family. I always say that we are rich of our values,
That's important.
So basically, and my family is like only one person, my mom, so, born and raised in France, and I owe her so much. So I was living in Champagne, France. And I took my motorbike and went from Champagne to Vallée with some resume, and then waiting at the door at AP, and people to come in, the manufacturer to come inside, and then giving my resume at that time. Didn't work.
I tried that as well in Zurich.
Really?
To sell watches.
I have my own story of getting rejected by AP many times as a customer.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad you experienced again, it's funny. There are those iconic brands that just pull you in, and for me, whatever the current state of the brand is, and I have no business and no intention to talk badly about it. For me, Audemars Piguet also always will represent historically some of the best of the Valley's watchmaking traditions. And I know in its core, there's so many people working in the company who feel themselves as custodians of that tradition. So I think it's a brand that will never be lost to time, whatever its current situation might be.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting.
I have a funny story about AP, and
I'm sure you have many.
Yeah, a lot of people experiencing this at some point, and again, like people should be at the center of everything, because at the end of the day, if some brand leave out of their production, it's also because people are buying it,
Right.
So at some point, we as part of this industry should be thankful for having enthusiasts, but more than enthusiast clients. And
Right.
clients should be at the center of everything. And I have stories about maybe also like with other brands that clients might have, but AP is, let's say, something let's say different. So
we will save that for another occasion.
Yes.
And maybe
Yes.
maybe we'll even talk one day about how we had the CEO of another Swiss watchmaker in the trunk of a G-Wagon as a future premonition to others who treat you in certain ways.
It sounds like mafia and mob things, right here.
Right. We do, we can give that impression. We are nice guys. But, I will speak on your behalf. I don't know how nice I am, but as far as I know, you're extremely nice.
Bucher, Bayer, nobody wanted me, but now we work with them, so it's even better, right? And you as well, right?
By the way, guys, obviously, please do subscribe to the Swiss Watch Gang channel. Follow on Instagram Holy Wrists, as well as Art Curacy. Please.
Thank you very much.
Right now, you
Exactly.
sell some of the watches on the tables. They're not these ones.
Yep.
But
This is my
you
personal
work with
stuff.
these brands, exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then what was the first brand that said, okay, you random guy from Champagne with a bike, I'll take you in?
Yeah, you know what? The very same day I applied to an internship at AP, I bought this one, the very first,
That is
my
so,
very
huh?
first piece. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was all the money I had at that time. This one, yeah, means something to me. Unfortunately, I don't wear it much anymore.
And then what was the next one, let's say, that you purchased after that you saw the first like mechanical?
So then I started to work. So basically what happened is that I asked a very good friend who lives in France, and it turns out that his neighbor was incredible and really talented watchmaker, Christophe Claret, and he used to own a castle in Burgundy, so not far from where I was living at that time. So I waited until I saw his car in his yard, and then I knock at the door and say, "Here's my resume. I'd love to work for you."
Yeah.
And for free.
Yeah.
And he went like, okay, let's
sure.
try. Let's try.
For sure, yeah.
So I started in this industry as employee. It was a bit more than 10 years ago now. And then this.
But that enterprise has been in you from the very beginning, right? You're not afraid to just knock on someone's door and say, "This is my resume. I'll work for you."
To be very honest, I was not like that at all. No, not at all. I was like quite, let's say, introvert when I was doing sport. I was very dedicated to it. I was very like focused, But then again, like it was very obvious that I had to do something about my life, and maybe I had like expectations. And considering my situation and my expectation, I had to do something about it. It was not like making sense to stay, let's say, introvert, but also having like high expectations. So I had to do something about it. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because daring is something, and maybe from this day on, maybe I dare a bit more, and when it's done with the most uh, uh, beautiful way, with a lot of respect, a lot of, well, there is no way it like couldn't work. Yeah.
You stepped first of all out of your comfort zone to do something different, and that is to dare. And I'm a Spurs fan in the Premier League, and the slogan is "To dare is to do," mostly because we can't win shit, right? That's mainly why we focus on daring rather than actually doing. But joking aside, that's more than halfway, putting yourself out there with that sort of enthusiasm and passion to start doing certain things. By the way, I Heart Maldives, thank you again for your super sticker. Guys, if you have any other questions for Jason that we haven't addressed so far, any other curiosity, feel free to send them into the chat. If it is as a super chat, that's even better, of course, because I gotta make a living as well. But otherwise, obviously, that Jason indulged me so much is already very important for me. So we'll go forward with this interview between Marco and Jason.
This was the second one. So I think that, the very classic move, the El Primero, but a bit more like, with the vintage feel, black dial, yellow gold case. And I did my first strap, custom-made strap to fit on the piece.
And for those who know me for a while, I love pocket watches, I love clocks, I love wall clocks, tailor clocks. Anything with mechanics I like to buy. I don't know why sometimes, but that's just the way I do it. So tell me about these two pieces. What's special about these two?
So this one is might be the most interesting one in terms of watchmaking, because it's a beautiful pocket watch, like Breguet style, with a very nice guilloche. I assume here we all know that everything has been made by hands. It's a quarter repeater.
Oh my God, man!
The sound is beautiful. The sound
This
is
looks
beautiful.
like a very good movement, huh?
Yeah,
For sure.
I'm pretty sure that it was one
Gorgeous.
of his students who
Mm.
did this. Unfortunately, it's not signed, but also fortunately because I was capable of buying it.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise,
Oh,
we'd bring a stamp on the daily.
That's good. That's very smart. What brings you to also pocket watches? We were just talking on this channel yesterday about the Derek Pratt Orban Jurgensen oval piece that sold, and whether that's indicative of a trend at all. I don't really know, but I also know that a lot of people who have perhaps so far exclusively focused on wristwatches are more than ever willing to venture out. What do you think about collecting pocket watches, even as a one-off piece?
Mhm. Well, this is the the essence of watchmaking. This is how it started for human beings being capable of carrying an object that was made for counting time, and then be also something that you keep with you. Um, to me, I feel this is at some point, maybe if I when I'll get a bit older, this is something that I would love, collect pocket watches, because to me this is the the essence, again, the foundation of watchmaking and watches. Um, right now, I feel that maybe due to my age, maybe maybe to the lack of maturity, I don't know, but to me this is a bit less personal. So this is
Mhm.
the reason why I have only a few pocket watches, and for sure the ones like that might attract me are going for crazy prices. So
Oh, of course, always,
so
always.
yeah,
But
but
there's also some interesting value sometimes
oh,
in the
for
realm of
sure.
pocket watches. You can
The,
get,
the,
like, this is a quarter repeater. You can get a lot of different kinds of complications, and sometimes beautifully open worked movements, um, at a relative bargain.
in terms of value, you should go for pocket watches because you can this. I'm pretty sure that it was like a Breguet student. I acquired for like maybe it was in France, maybe 2,000 euros. It was broken though. A good friend of mine, someone that I admire, and also his work. So I'll mention his name, and I'm pretty sure
Or
that it's gonna resonate with you. So Yosuke Sekiguchi.
ah,
So he's a master. I have one of his pieces coming. Always been a huge fan of the man. Very humble, very introvert. Another one, but extremely talented. And at that time, he was doing like he was servicing my pieces. And when I found this one, unfortunately, it was not in good condition, and I brought the pocket watch to Yosuke, and I said, please, Yosuke, do your magic. I'd love to well, it's boot, so it's too late, but I'd love to have it and to be able to hear the time and the sound of this beautiful quarter repeater. And he did his magic, and now it works. It works very well. The sound is amazing, and this is a beautiful piece for sure.
amazing. The Yosuke Sekiguchi is, of course, a watchmaker operating out of Le Locle, and he's I'm happy to assume of Japanese descent. Feel free to correct me, Jason. But great watchmaker. Perhaps more people should recognize. I will drop a link to his
For
Instagram page.
for sure, because like I've spent the last Friday with Yosuke. We spent hours together, and he showed me. So he's gonna deliver his new batch of watches. So he produced 20 pieces per year. And to be very honest, it's been a long time ago that I haven't been surprised like this, because he showed me. So maybe 2 years ago, he showed me the prototype. The prototype was something, but like what he showed me now, and his production pieces, I don't have like a lot of names coming to my mind with such quality right now.
Amazing. So that's
Yeah.
Yosuke's Instagram page. If you feel free to click there and explore.
But also fortunate.
Oh,
Oops. Ads.
that's my stinginess coming out. Should pay for YouTube to skip the commercials, but
Yeah.
can't help myself. The money has to go to buying watches.
That's good.
One more.
I love it.
Present and loud. Yeah.
And the table clock here?
And the table clock. So this is very special to me. So basically, my mom was my only family. I never had the chance to have any grandma, but my grandma was sick. She left us like long time ago, and that was the clock that was sitting on her
On her bedside, huh?
bedside.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
this is very emotional to me. And for the little story, so my mom gave it to me, and a very a dear friend and very talented watchmaker agreed on working on it. It's
Nice.
Yosuke Sekiguchi.
Ah, yes, yeah, from Relocle, no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's the one who serviced it. And kind of inspiration.
For sure. MB&F HM4.
HM4.
HM4. Immediately saw that.
Yeah. So
Sima knew what's coming, huh?
That's amazing. It's really those emotional connections to these mechanical pieces that I think really inflames our passion.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, the market value for such a clock is absolutely nothing. But like, to me, this is so important.
Yeah, it's everything. And the fact that your friend worked on it to restore it.
Exactly. Yeah, again, it was broken. So the only thing I know about it is that it was sitting on the bedside table at the hospital of when my grandma was there. And then for some reason, I don't know what happened, but it was no longer working. So so it was also very important for me as a legacy, to make it work again. And then I had no choice but to take it to my friend Yosuke, who was again doing only service at that time. So yeah, like he's the one who worked on it, and now it works, and it's always with me.
And this is a little bit of a change of pace, but I think that's very important. What kind of value personally, as an enthusiast, as a collector, you find in that sort of relationship that you have cultivated with a watchmaker, as a friend first, as someone who serviced and took care of your watches, and now is on the eve of delivering you a piece that he created? Tell me a little more about that, because that's very special.
To be very honest, it's part of it. It's part of the journey. It's part of the emotion I gonna give to his product, because well, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this, but just for you to understand who Yosuke Sekiguchi is, and how good he is. Again, maybe it's confidential, but he was the one servicing all the Grand Sonnerie for Gruber Forsey. So basically, when Gruber Forsey received a Grand Sonnerie back from the market for a service, they were giving it to Yosuke-san. So he's good. He's very good. So knowing this, knowing his journey. So he arrived 20 years ago in Switzerland. So he left his home. He left everything. He left Japan to pursue his dream in Switzerland. And nowadays he's making his own brand. So again, like this is something like, this is, let's say, a kind of target piece, because like it's 80,000 Swiss francs. So this is not something like you go and say, well, like, give me 10.
I wish. Maybe 20, 30 years after, when you're talking to your grandchildren, you'll say,
Mhm.
I should have bought 10 of Yosuke-san pieces. By all means possible, by all means.
It sounds like me, so yeah, I'm capable of saying something like this. But that being said, again, like this is, someone you also want to support. I felt that, when I saw his very first prototype, it was maybe, let's say, a bit too conservative for me. Um, because it's very, simple, elegant.
Mhm.
But I was maybe expecting a bit more. And when I saw his production pieces, it was at well, to be very honest, it might sound like cliche, but the only brands or person I was able to compare his product with, it was from Mr. Dufour,
Mhm.
or Recipe, because he makes as much as he can by hand in his workshop. Everything else is made in the canton of Neuchâtel, so he sources everything around. He makes. I know that he works very late in his workshop. He does everything by himself. He has no employee, because otherwise he's afraid of losing the real DNA that he and
Mm.
the soul he wants to put in each timepiece. And to me it was, yeah, this happened, so it's coming.
That's fantastic. And
Yeah,
of course, you are based in the same canton
yeah,
yourself in
exactly.
Neuchâtel.
Yeah, we're like 25 minutes away from each other. Yeah.
So if you're watching, this is probably the inspiration. Huh? Very cool. And then we have this here, the bracelet, SP Jeweler, which I was a huge fan of. I still am, from Florida, right?
Yeah,
Sean?
exactly, Sean. So Sean, basically on the day we were recording this video, Sean, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Sean.
This is your brother, and wish you nothing but the best. Back in 2016, 17, we designed our first watch together. And when I was working at Claret, we decided to go like all in for something very special. And back in the days, it was the extreme one,
Yes.
the one with the two spheres,
Sick.
magnetism,
Tourbillon
inclined tourbillon,
I
30
remember.
degrees. It was crazy. And then Christophe Claret gave me the freedom to design something. And then together with Sean, we redesigned the watch.
If you breathe on sapphire, the skull came out.
It was very subtle, a lot of little
I remember.
details that make
It's
it
cool
like
stuff.
the entire project
It's
very
cool
nice.
stuff.
And
Awesome.
we were delivering together with the watch, we were delivering a bracelet like that from Sean's.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't have the piece, even though like I feel that, at some point I'd love to find one.
You should
and
buy one, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just for the memories,
Exactly. So, and I love the technique of this timepiece.
I love the collection here because it's similar to how I collect, just a bunch of everything basically, not really hyper focused on a few things. But I see some Gentas here.
Yeah.
I used to have the same one with the brown
I
dial.
remember that.
But yours is pretty cool. So how did you come to, let's say, buy the Genta?
Yeah, I love, to me, the jump hour pieces are quintessential Genta. And I also have one of those in the sports arena version with the, not the bi-retro, but just with the retrograde minute and that kind of mother of pearl detail at the center of the dial. I love these pieces, especially when it's on a full bracelet like that.
Yeah, and again, like Genta is someone who is really important for this industry. Obviously, his name resonates more nowadays because of, well, thanks to also La Fabrique du Temps. I'm a huge fan of Gérald Janta and his work. And well, after all the commercial success he designed, well, we can all agree on the fact that he was someone extremely important for our industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, someone who dared to put his own name on a watch when that wasn't so common as
Exactly.
it might be now.
Exactly. So two versions, Mach 1 and Mach 2. So when he was independent and then acquired by Bulgari. So two very nice pieces that I really enjoy wearing.
Bought this like maybe 8-9 years ago.
When it
And-
was almost for free, basically.
Yeah.
It was a few $100.
Exactly. And then not long time ago, I acquired so this is second series. This is the first series. We can easily recognize it. Same spirits, and Gérald Janta was definitely part of it here. It was the Bulgari area.
Yeah, now that LVMH is reviving the brand, I'm curious to see what's going to happen with it.
Yeah.
And they bring out some pieces already. But also they bought up Daniel Roth,
Yes.
and they're going to revive it, and they did already. So I think you have some Daniel Roth pieces, which I've never seen. Not that I'm a big scholar of the brand, but I'm also sure some of the pieces would love.
I'm also happy to recognize, that in a way, and very differently, of course, that special pièce unique chronograph you have by Daniel Roth reflects aesthetically that Zenith chronograph that you showed earlier.
Absolutely.
So, even though Marco was saying, there's no single logic to it, and I appreciate that too, there are, like you would say, pieces that resonate with each other, speak back to each other.
Exactly. So you're 100% right. For some reason, and even right now, I cannot even explain why. I'm not a big fan of white dials. I don't know why. Like it's very tough for me to say why. But I would rather go, if I have the choice, I would rather go for something darker, that's something light. Not light, but white. It is very important to also feel the difference. But again, I cannot really explain why. But when I have the opportunity to go for something, darker, so it's a bit less, let's say, readable. But for some reason, I like it. So yeah, you're right. The vintage feeling also of the Zenith, and the makes and resonates with the Daniel Roth. Yeah, for sure. The chronograph.
Yeah, that's very cool.
To be acquired by the Arnault family. How did you start with collecting Daniel Roth pieces? And I also see you have a very nice Breguet here, which I assume is in the same connection.
Exactly. This is the Daniel Roth area at Breguet. So basically what happened is that the Chaumet brothers acquired the name Breguet for nothing. And then they decided to hire someone in charge of the watchmaking and make sure that they revived the name the best way. So basically Daniel Roth then joined their team. And then he decided to work with Lemania. So he developed the movement when he was working at Breguet. So here you have the beautiful 2310 Lemania movement, the chronograph column wheel. It's beautiful. So Patek, Vacheron Constantin, Breguet used to buy this movement and then encase it in their very nice, classy, elegant.
The architecture is still inspiration today. Huh?
It's beautiful.
In the modern watches.
So some of the most important people in this industry classify this movement as the #1 chronograph movement ever made.
Yeah.
So and to be honest, I kind of agree.
For sure.
Yeah.
And there is also a Daniel Roth chrono here. So.
Exactly. So basically what happened is that in 1987, when the Chaumet brothers faced issue, they stopped Breguet, basically. So Daniel Roth was then I have...
Work directly with...
Well, as we are having that commercial break. Oh, okay.
I can try by myself.
Yeah.
So he called Lemania, say, hey, you know what? I want to buy a couple of your movements, and then I'll do my own case, my own design, and start by my own. And he was the first independent watchmaker. So this is why also I have huge, limitless respect for this person. He dared, he was definitely someone who said, I'll try by myself, and he set the pace.
And unique casing and everything.
And
yeah.
unique casing, unique signature, unique design. And also this very piece is unique. So
Yeah.
the 101 chronograph, the line dial, black dial with the yellow gold case, this is unique.
So we're accepting the highest offer on this video now? No, I'm kidding.
I also like the fact that
and something very nice about this.
between the 4 pieces displayed there, they're all, aesthetically quite different from each other. Like, the metals,
I agree.
obviously the complications, but also how they are displayed. And I think it's a great breadth, or a great way of displaying the kind of breadth that Daniel Roth achieved in a very unique case shape.
I agree, because every single time he was doing something, like it's Daniel Roth, even though he was exploring. Sometimes it's fully open, sometimes it's half open, sometimes it's fully closed, using different colors, different architectures, different layouts. But at the end, you recognize it's Daniel Roth. So this is also why he was a genius.
Yeah,
And still is, but not under his name anymore.
The pieces would
movement, and then I'll do person behind La Fabrique du Temps. He told me something very nice about this piece is that when LVMH revived the brand during their first exhibition, so I passed by the booth, and then I said, "Yeah, I have one like the original chronograph."
By the way,
I showed it to Enrico. He's one of the 2 person behind La Fabrique du Temps. He told me, "That's you. You have it?" I said, "Yeah. Why?" He told me it's the cover of the internal catalog we use for Daniel Roth.
oh, wow.
Yeah. I said, "Yeah, this is mine. This is
You're like, can I get a catalog?
Ask them for it."
By the way, one of the audience members who's a member of the channel as well. Great to see Jason on your channel. I watched a video of his collection and was blown away. And another
thank you very
viewer,
much for your words.
another viewer was commenting earlier on Yosuke Sekiguchi's work. Primavera is amazing. When I asked him about the Détente escapement, he did reveal that he already planned one in the for the future. Amazing person. Right.
And he worked on it. This is not a secret. He's the one who developed the Détente escapement for Christophe Claret. So it was the name of the collection was Maestoso. But I know that Yosuke developed on the next grade that we can give to a Détente escapement. And yes, you're right. Like I'm pretty sure that it's ready, and he's gonna do something with it soon. Yeah.
Very cool. Guys, by the way, hit the like button again. Don't forget to subscribe to Jason's accounts. I will drop the links once more at Holy Wrists and at Art Curacy on Instagram.
Thank you very much.
I need to
I'm
get
still
a
waiting for
catalog,
it
yeah. Enrico, huh? Deliver.
Yeah.
And then we go a bit more high end, huh?
This is one of the first, if not the first, perpetual calendar with a twist, something a bit more spicy, instantaneous jump. So all the functions at midnight.
They don't sweep, but they jump.
Exactly,
Wow.
at midnight. And the funny story about it is that Daniel Roth really wanted it so bad. Unfortunately, apparently, he was not capable of doing that by himself. So he called someone called Philippe Dufour.
Yeah, somebody you might know. The young watchmaker.
Yeah, so this is my Dufour Daniel Roth. And this one is a bit more special since it's the skeletonized version.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah,
it's gorgeous. I love this piece, man.
Yeah.
And then I think the crème de la crème,
Yeah,
excuse my French, the best watch here is
So funny story is that so the perpetual calendar you were holding here has a special engraving on the plate, the main plate.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's also number 10.
Oh, Jesus.
So with a special engraving on the main plate, and this is also number 10.
Wow.
All details that I'm pretty sure that a lot of people might call me or call us crazy people.
Weirdos.
But all the watch collectors, they will.
I mean, it's really special, you know, also the level of detail in what seems, again, like, you know, it's a silver dial, right? You know, what's the big deal? But there are so many different sectors, you know, all of which
Layers,
have that coin
detail.
edging and fluting, frosting, and that, you know, striped guilloche that's very special to it.
It's not messy. It's well organized. It's with a beautiful symmetry. It makes sense. It's readable. You can easily check it and not being confused when you look at the watch. So yeah, it was a great job. Great job.
For sure, understand.
But this is beautiful, man. The Roth Tourbillon, they just started delivering the new one, I think.
Exactly. And think about that. So back in the days when Daniel Roth revived the tourbillon in the wristwatch, we estimate in the world like only 500 tourbillons in the world in 1988. When Breguet and then Daniel Roth reintroduced the tourbillon, then all the brands said, you know what, that's mesmerizing, that's beautiful on the wrist, that's even sometimes a bit more accurate, let's use it. But Daniel Roth was the one being independent, but also being the leader at that time.
And the back, it has an engraving.
He call it volute en taille douce, so this is French. So let's say that this is something very sweet and smooth engraving. You can also see the fleur de lis.
I've seen this watch a few weeks ago, months ago, when you were here, and took a nice photo behind me there. You know? And I think it's just an awesome piece. And how many of this were made?
Well, like to be very honest, like we estimate the total number of tourbillons to maybe 250, but this is very special because the regular one, let's say regular one, is double face tourbillon. The case is a bit thicker. To me, this is very something unique thanks to the proportion of the case.
This is great, man. I really like this.
Thank you.
And then we go to one of my favorite watch brands and one of my first clients, 2017-18, Urwerk. Again, this is a huge, I think, difference, right? If we look at them side by side. But again, that's what I like about you, because you go all the different directions here. You go from a 34 millimeter tourbillon, 35 tourbillon, to a what feels like a 60 millimeter
spaceship on the wrist.
You know, after the Roth.
About these, I love the product for sure, but I also love the people behind the product. And Felix and Martin history is also something. They say, we want to do beautiful watchmaking. And not something that you guys gonna like or the market gonna like, but something we want to do for ourselves. I sourced this piece on the second market because it's also a kind of special connection I have with this very piece, and also the person who sold it to me.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome. And you also, for people that don't know what you do, you currently curate some collections as well.
Exactly.
You sell some of the brands, maybe even some on the table here. And you basically, what do you do nowadays?
So basically, it's been 4 years that I'm independent. I'm helping some young, from the market perspective, watchmakers to establish themselves as independent, to create a brand. So I help them designing the strategy, commercial policy, distribution, marketing. I also do some consulting work for a very important group in Saudi Arabia.
Nice.
And by the end of this year, or maybe early next year, we're going to open maybe one of the most beautiful retail dedicated to beautiful independent watchmaking in Riyadh.
So next video we do together in Saudi.
Is in Riyadh. Yeah, for sure. Be my guest.
Let's go. I mean, perfect. I can't wait to see that, because I know stuff you work with. It's very particular, and you're very polished, and you think about what you do.
Exactly.
That's a fantastic project, by the way. I hope it's coming on swimmingly, and that when it's opened, hopefully I'll have a chance to visit as well.
Oh yeah, you should come. Starting from scratch, so it's a huge group in Saudi Arabia, and basically what happened is that I met so the VP of the group. So the owner of the group is a big share in Saudi Arabia, and then his son is the VP of the group, and then I met him maybe back in 2018, 19 for the first time. He was collecting watches, but he was well, like to me, it's something. It's I have to be very careful with the words I'm using now. But he was only into mainstream. Let's say this. So I opened his eyes and told him that beautiful watchmaking was not only coming from the well-known brands, and also like you can find in the wild like extremely talented watchmakers. And to me, the value is here. The backbone of this industry in terms of innovation is nowadays coming from the independent
But
world.
you know what I want to add to that, and also, you said you're choosing your words carefully, but part of what you do with Art Curacy is, of course, education. Sometimes people
Exactly.
misunderstand this word, but I'm sure, again, we have emphasized that you're a very nice guy, so I'm sure you relate that lesson very kindly, as you always do. But what I want to also emphasize is that as even as we emphasize that the value is in independent watchmakers, they also need these sorts of channels, these sorts of retail points where they can, in a way, pool their resources together and find the best ways of exhibiting their products with knowledgeable, passionate staff who actually know and care about those pieces. And it really, it gives me joy that you have this project coming along, establishing that sort of physical space that will bring together these brands and open them into a different market, into a different venue. That's
Exactly.
that
and
makes me happy.
and what happened also, what happened behind is also very let's say healthy. So basically I took him from the mainstream brands, and I brought him to the beautiful independent watchmaking. And then he told me, what you did with me, we have to import it in Saudi Arabia,
That's
because
it.
in Saudi Arabia we have a lot of people. They feel that they are collecting the most beautiful pieces that exist, and beautiful, like we set the cursor wherever we want, like beautiful, this is so personal. But when it comes to exclusivity, there is a rule, and this rule is the number of pieces made.
Yeah.
That's it. So if a Rolex Daytona is exclusive, you ask me, I would say no, this is not exclusive, it's tough to get. It's you have to show some love to the retailer in order to get your name on the list, but it's not exclusive. They make tens of thousands of, if not hundreds of the
Right.
same model. So and they can, to be honest, they can by just moving some numbers at the facility, they can quickly double the production of Daytonas. But when it comes to, again, beautiful independent watchmaking, if we name Yosuke Sekiguchi, if he does 20 per year, well, he doesn't have the infrastructure, he doesn't have the capacity to do more. Otherwise, the quality will slightly decrease. Otherwise, well, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
So exclusivity, it can be easily related to numbers. And this is also what happened with so this person in Saudi Arabia. And then we said, let's bring this project, let's give life to this project. And then the main pillar of this project is not the retail, is the education.
Yeah.
And this is actually a space, so 734 square meters, so it's quite huge, in the heart of Riyadh. And then people will be able to come. We're gonna have a huge lounge, extremely comfortable. People will be able to come, enjoy a very nice coffee from a well-known barista brand, and then get educated, sharing about beautiful
Right.
watchmaking. We're gonna have a museum section where we're gonna showcase some very extremely rare and sought after pieces, and then it won't be for sale. It's just gonna be the main purpose of this project is gonna be education. So
That's brilliant.
yeah.
By the way, guys, I've just seen the number jump very quickly. To reintroduce, I'm with Jason of Art Curacy, known also as Holy Wrist on Instagram, who has just given this beautifully detailed interview to Marco at Swiss Watch Gang. So we are watching that interview along, but he was just talking about his project of bringing this educational community space into Riyadh that brings pulls together some young and up and coming independent watchmakers and introduce the kind of innovation, the kind of exclusivity, and the kind of unique elan they bring into the watchmaking world in this new space. When can we expect this place to be opened without putting you on the spot, Jason? Next year sometime?
Yeah, Q1 next year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Q1 next year. So
Yep.
it's coming
soon.
up soon.
It's soon. Yeah. it's
Amazing.
tomorrow. It's the day after.
Amazing. Captain, by the way, says, I met Martin Frey at Watchtime NYC. Great person, and Uhrwerk design certainly speaks to me.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And again,
And Martin is one of these, very extremely creative person. And it's very nice to talk with people like this, because I love him. I love Martin, but he's not really connected. So whenever you talk to Martin, he brings you like two different worlds, and he's the only one driving the spaceship, and then he's gonna bring you to different worlds. And I feel that this is also the where us as collector, it's also so interesting to collect a bit of each brand that we like. And why do we like the brand? Well, designs for sure, but also the people, so the craftsmanship, the everything. But at the end of the day, this is also the people.
Yeah, by the way, Captain, of course, if you enjoy Uhrwerk's design language, certainly you should check out the other Jason's designs and ideas that he sometimes
Exactly.
shares on his Instagram account. And I dropped the link there at Watch Designer for our common friend, Jason Sarkoyan.
Exactly. And also the funny story about it, you said curating. So also help some people like, curating and managing the collection. So private clients. And then it's always good because, again, it's also a matter of connection with the people.
Of course.
And when you have the connection, some people might trust you. And then when they give me the trust, I do my best to always surprise them.
For sure. Plus, I think when people see this collection, they see the depth of you, because some may know you from Clarisse, some may know you from whatever other brand you wear at the time. But when you see this, I think you show like a big range of knowledge as well. Huh? We have two more affordable watches here, which I also own, just in different variants.
Yeah, exactly.
The Space One and Mad 1. Nice everyday pieces
Yeah.
and affordable price point. Mad 1 is what, 3.5K, I think,
Yeah, something like
approximately.
something like that.
And the Space One was 1.9, 1.6.
Yeah, a bit more.
Yeah.
This one was a bit more. It's the
Special edition, huh?
titanium version with the special
With the
version.
burn,
So,
huh?
yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
10 pieces.
I love
got,
these.
I got number one. Again,
Perfect.
numbers
Of
are
course
really
you did.
important here.
Either 10 or number 1, you know. I see there's like a theme now here.
Yeah, and then the Mad One. This is for the lucky person, I guess.
Yeah.
So I got the lucky clover on it.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is the special touch.
If you like indies and you want to get started in
Exactly.
them and have a similar feeling of like an MBNF or like a DB Tune
Yeah.
or whatever, you buy one of those. And then we have some watches which I think have the most comfortable bracelets here.
Mhm.
We have the Octo Finissimo, special edition, obviously. Jason cannot buy a normal piece. And the Streamliner here from Moser with also the salmon copper dial. What is it called?
Yeah, like they teased at that time with salmon. I feel it's a bit more copper. When they introduced these 3 hands first, it was with the green dial. I was not a fan. I remember that on the very first day, maybe Edouard posted this one on his
Yeah.
own IG.
Sick.
I was like, I need it.
Yeah.
I need it. This is the one.
Yeah.
This is the one. I wanted a Streamliner, but I knew that it was the one. Like you mentioned, very comfortable.
Oof. This is
is like-
weighs like nothing.
Yeah, so this is titanium only.
Yeah.
What I like is the very special feeling. Some people might say that it's a bit too much. I feel that it's very unique, so this is why I acquired this. I'm also a friend first, but a
Yeah.
client of Chronopatient, and beautiful people working over there. I try to support them as much as I can. The
That's the edition they did with the artist Mo Copoletta, right?
Yes, exactly. Mo Copoletta and Laurent Picciotto, they work together on creating 3 different watches with like 3 different atmospheres. And it's obviously something very unique. I feel that again, like it's important like to feel the emotion when you see a timepiece, especially when you acquire it. And to me it works. Like you cannot compare it with anything else. So this is very different. This is not something that even in my daily life I wear, but at least I have it. So it's different and it makes sense. It's not different to be different. It's different, but also it makes sense.
The thing for me is I pay a lot of attention to what people say, sometimes to my detriment, against my own best interest. But in this case, I know you from before our conversations about the FP Jean piece that you acquired. Even when you have pieces that are slightly easier to come by compared to one of one kind of thing, you want a special touch. You want something that distinguishes them. But on top of that, you have just said as part, since again you very generously and gracefully came here and shared your time with me, you said that you wear these pieces on your skin, right? That's the real emotional value of the wristwatch, that you wear it on yourself anywhere and everywhere. And
Exactly.
I think this project was very interesting because of that. The unique design of the Octo Finissimo, the fact that it is so sleek and light, all in titanium, that it almost wears like a second skin, right? And to reiterate that design with the special tattoo-like appearance, I think was very smart by Chronopatient.
Exactly. And when they reintroduced the Octo Finissimo, it was I cannot exactly name when, but I visited the Chronopatient and I said I really want one. So it was a limited edition. I cannot recall the year, but it was a limited edition. And I tried it on, and something was not enough for me. Something was missing. Maybe because of the very flat design. And when they first introduced the tattoo, the first version of the tattoo collection, I was like, wow, it brings depth to the very flat watch. So this is something extremely good in terms of design and very good exercise to turn how to turn a flat watch into something with depth. And they managed to do it with this very special design.
Amazing.
Copoletta
And Laurent Picciotto.
and Laurent Picciotto for Chronopatient, 30 pieces limited edition.
Awesome. And then we go to somebody who is very established,
Yeah, I think so.
one of the main players in the independent scene,
The
FP
least we can
Journe.
say. This piece is also very special to me. I feel that I
Obviously.
said that 1,000 times already. First, because like I remember back in the days, I was not especially dreaming about FP Journe, and I read more about Journe, his history, and then his design, also his passion for the object, but also for the industry. So I felt that last year I said, okay, I want one now.
Yeah. Then you just have to find the person who's selling you one. Right?
Exactly. And the thing is, you know, you never know how to introduce yourself. And for some
like a time
retailers, I'm
bomb.
just the client. And for this retailer, I never mentioned that I was part of this industry, so now they will know. And I said, but I'm sorry, I want something which is not on the catalog. Can we make it happen? And they
What a
said, "Wow."
surprise.
They say, well, it's going to be very difficult, obviously. I said, I really love the Octa in 40 millimeter. I love the platinum case and the rose gold die.
Yeah.
And obviously it's not on the catalog, neither on the website, but I said, well, if you can make it happen, I mean, 100%. They managed to make it happen. I love this piece so much. And also, you know what I'm doing when I receive my piece, I just enjoy it for a while with the strap it's delivered with. And then I customize it.
Then you immediately change it.
Yeah.
I
I just need like to get a couple of weeks, the feeling of the timepiece on my wrist, and then see what I can do, the best I can do, like to fit with the vibe of the watch.
Because most of these leather straps I see they have your company's name on it, Accuracy.
Accuracy, yeah. So this is something, you know, I feel it's also part of the journey when you collect watches. It gives you the feeling. Sometimes I have different straps for the same watch. Based on my, you know, again, feelings.
But it's fun. And I was always a fan of two-tone straps.
Yep.
So the front is this and the back can be a bit crazy. First time I saw this was when I was in Baselworld visiting a manufacturer, Royal.
Oh, yeah.
And they have like, let's say they had the black strap in the front, but red in the back. I'm like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah. But it's also like, I feel it's showing love to the timepiece, to the work that some people put in.
Yeah, the attention to detail again, you know. It means it also shows you really care.
Yeah.
And also, I think somebody who cares a lot about what he does is this guy right here. Person
Simon.
who I had the pleasure on having on the channel before in Geneva. So Simon Brett.
I remember catching up with Simon, even though he was like, let's say, no one for this industry, but we spent hours talking about what he could do for his brand if he wanted to do at some point, build something around. So he finally came with the 12 first pieces. So this is one of the 12, the zirconium case. This is not mine. I'm supposed to receive mine in the upcoming weeks. And again, like, you know, to show the support to the young and talented person in this industry. So I said, Simon, I want one. I need one. So here is the other.
And I always love to record the Simon Brett. So
so this is Simon piece and mine is coming. So it's going to be the titanium one. It's very simple in terms of construction. It's very beautiful. This is not like huge and difficult movement. This is something very simple. It just pushed some parts to its limit.
Wait, Subway did what?
Can you say something more about Simon Brett and what makes this work so special, and perhaps also elaborate on when you say, you know, this is a simple movement, because it does speak to a certain trend in independent watchmaking, right? You know, when if in the early 2000s the trend was to make a tourbillon wristwatch, you know, where all these different brands were flexing their muscles, independent makers, when they come into the market, try to start with the simple idea of presenting a time-only watch, but with a unique touch. What sets apart Simon Pret specifically?
Well, again, exactly as you highlighted it, not long time ago, let's say 10 years ago, it was, let's say bodybuilding competition. So whenever you were capable of doing more expensive, more complicated, it was better, and the perception was good. Unfortunately, most of the time it was not reliable. It was sometimes too big. It was so. Uh, I feel that 10 years later, people are now focusing on time-only watches because this is the most simple and beautiful way to express your DNA through something, let's say, simple, but also something quite um, um, simple is not negative. Huh? When I feel that when I say this, simple is not negative. Simple is just the fact that you want to show what's your real value without any artifact, without any clothes on, without any mask on, who you are. And Simon here managed to do something just by saying, you know what, I'm gonna go to people I admire, and I'm gonna ask them to work with me. So the construction again is simple, but he managed to create something out of it. And he went
But
to Luc Monet. Luc had a huge impact on Simon's work, and Luc Monet is also another genius that we mentioned a couple of genius. So Luc Monet is another genius that we can mention here. And then Luc was really involved into this project, and I know that this is also Luc's value behind this watch.
By the way, again, I have a lot of Americans in my audience, so I can't always count on this, but I love using analogies from soccer, from football. But about simplicity, Johan Cruyff has said, playing football is very simple, but playing simple football is the hardest thing there is, right? And I always use that analogy when I talk about simplicity in watchmaking, and especially representing what makes you and your brand unique in a time-only watch, right? It sounds simple enough, but executing it in a market that is now much more crowded than it was a decade ago or even 5 years ago is not so simple. Actually, as an idea, it's simple enough. It's a three-hander. What else? We have seen it before, but it's all those little artisanal details, the hand finishing and the personal care, and even the personal connections that go into putting that name on the map, that sets apart some of these new independent makers.
Exactly, and this is also where it's a trend nowadays to see like simple but perfect, let's say, the 10 to perfection, perfectly finished component with very nice hand finishing. So this is a trend, but Simon managed to do something here. Yeah.
5 pieces here, which are very different to each other as well.
Yeah.
What's your favorite one of these?
Maybe I'll choose the White Gold Meteorite. It's definitely something exclusive. This is also all matching, so original components, which is also very important when I source something.
It's very cool.
But let's say emotion, because at the end of the day, to be very honest, it's all about emotions.
Yes. Yeah.
So I would say this one is very special to me.
The GMT Master too. Philippe Dufour is also wearing one.
Yeah,
I am wearing one. You have one. It's like a club thing, huh? I'm kidding.
So it's a bit hype. I'm not into the hype thing. This one, the value, the emotional value is very important to me. So it's a piece that I was wearing at very important moments, and then also my mom contributed to it. This one, I think that this is the one I want to be with.
Yeah. You have also something I never filmed yet on the channel, which is very difficult because we've done a lot of videos before with many brands and people that never saw what's on the wrist. Huh?
This one,
It's an Anders and Genève.
Yeah.
One of the first watchmakers I met, 2016. I went to the atelier. I met Gaël Peterman there when he was still working at the workshop. But Anders and Genève is doing some really cool things. You have a very nice jump hour here.
Oh yeah.
Tell me, what's the story about this?
I'll tell you something. It's very fresh. So basically, I had this in order for a year or something now, and then I called the owner and I said, Pierre-Alexandre, I know that it's tough with your production, but I'm doing this video with Marco. Maybe you can rush a bit the production because I would love to wear
pressure.
it. Yeah, I'd love to wear it during the video. And then this happened. So he told me I did my very best. And yesterday, he delivered the timepiece to me.
Nice.
Amazing. I mean, and so speaking to the value of a personal connection, of course, Pierre-Alexandre is he's a very special person, very exceptional person. And I think he does great work in opening up the kind of horological legacy that Sven Andersen represents, because that's another very revered and storied proper name when it comes to independent watchmaking.
Absolutely. So important for this industry too. Yeah.
Yeah, with his with his leadership in AHCI. Which was, of course, finally recognized by GPHG just last year as well, with very emotional moment for them. You know, if you saw the acceptance speech, but
I was there, and I was there, and I'll tell you something. Again, this is a lot of politics, and I always have to be very careful when I choose my words. But I stand at that time. I really stand, because it like they deserved it, and for some reason they've waited for so long before getting the spotlight and the what they deserve, and when Vincent Calabrese and Sven Andersen made it to the GPHG, and finally GPHG recognized the HCI, it was something.
Yeah, and again, you are much more diplomatic than I am, I think, by and large. But absolutely, that there is there's great value in sometimes these are industry spaces, right? So they are not always ruled by passion, personal attachments, emotion. They do have other priorities, which we understand, but once every so often, it's not much, right? To give this sort of recognition to people who have quite literally toiled for decades at sometimes enormous personal expense. Monetarily, but also even psychologically, right? So it's very important to recognize, even as you do a great leadership in shepherding this new generation of independent watchmakers. I think your collection already represents the kind of respect and reverence you have for the older masters.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's something, obviously, with like limitless budget, it would be different, but as much as I can, and for sure they deserve more spotlights and recognition. Yeah.
And 92 in the chat was bringing up, by the way, thank you, Basil, for the super sticker. We appreciate it. One of the things that makes Andersen Genève so special, and perhaps a lot of these independent makers so special, is that there are so many unique details they bring into this holistic creation that can also be personalized and customized accordingly. The dial is, like he says, showstopper. The circular ring around the movement that is itself blued gold. That's very special. There are not many other brands that do details like that.
Yep, I agree.
But I'm doing this video with Marco, maybe in my very best. And yesterday, he delivered the timepiece to me.
Nice.
We had an
So
amazing
it's
lunch.
fresh from the oven.
It's super fresh. He made the trip just to me to get it for this.
Nice.
It's a lot for me. It's also the what you bring together with the timepiece. And it's definitely emotions and memories.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep, the blue ring. Yeah.
And speaking of that interplay of blue and pink, here that minute track is actually a very subtle blue as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree.
Together with the timepiece, and it's definitely emotions and memories.
I see, because the strap is still from the brand. Huh?
Exactly.
I'm like, where's the custom strap?
Good point. So yeah,
Have you changed the strap yet, Jason?
Nope, still the same. For some reason, it works. This is also not frustrating, but when the brand does a good job, it's important to keep it that way too.
You like a challenge, so I'm sure you won't stop. The gears won't
I
stop
already have
turning.
a couple of ideas, but unfortunately, my strap maker and also they are extremely talented in their own field and industry. They do everything. They custom made everything. Everything is made by hand. So when I go there, we sit together and they just listen to me what I have to say about the timepiece, and then we talk about the strap. So first we talk about the timepiece, and then we talk about the strap, and this is always this feeling that we share. And then also because it's everything is handmade, it takes some time to get the strap. So right now I still have the same strap on. Yeah,
But the kind of again the kind of care and nuance that you bring to that particular process, which is very personal to you in terms of bringing something out of your personal timepiece, giving it some special creative expression. This is something that you also, of course, give to your clients through Art Curacy as well. So it's
absolutely. So
I'm glad you're
there is
sharing that vision with other
some
collectors and brands.
some people trust me for this, so they say, you know what, I trust you, and I know that you're doing a good job with it, so feel free, and I'm sure I love it. Or some people might say, you know what, I thought about something, and here is what I think about my next strap, my strap should be. So yeah, this is
But it also shows the kind of care and nuance that you bring to your broader vision with independent watchmaking as well.
Yeah, I agree, and because I will never dare, let's say, to ask the brand to do something which sometimes is not, like, let's say, corporate. It might be like flashy colors. It might be like two different spirits, tones, materials. So I know that I have the people, maybe the best in this field. It has a cost, but I think it worth it. So
this is also something that I will definitely remember. The way it did everything for me. This is a timepiece I love. In terms of proportion, I love the lugs. The dial is
beautiful.
This is breathtaking.
It's almost like an optical illusion.
Yeah.
Now when I look at it like this.
Exactly, and bring all different kind of atmospheres, light on it. It's gonna be every single time a different story.
Yeah, beautiful, and the case back is nice as well.
The case back, so the platinum case. It turns out that apparently I like the contrast, with the rose gold dials and platinum. cases.
It's kind of a theme
You know,
here, yes.
Yeah, it's kind of. To be very honest, I never.
Goodbye, gravity.
But yeah, as much as there is a lot of diversity, a lot of different brands in your collection, there are those thorough lines that
Mhm. Exactly.
that white metal and a shade of pink or copper
I don't
is certainly one of those.
Exactly.
each timepiece the best way. And then right now, obviously, like to be very honest, this is the first time I do the exercise.
All
to put-
together. Huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
With you, for you. I don't feel it's too much, but I feel that, the connection,
Yeah.
in the watchmaking, like the collecting journey.
Mm.
And this is something like we can clearly
For
highlight.
sure. And Anderson, I think, is a legend. One of the
Anderson is a legend.
founding fathers of the AHCI, the Academy of Independent Watchmakers. So-
Exactly. And when I was capable of financially acquiring more timepieces, it was on my list, Anderson Genève. I never really knew which one. But when he showed me the prototype of this for the first time, I said, wow,
Yeah, it's
this
beautiful.
is it.
It's beautiful.
I know this is the
Especially
one.
the guilloche. I mean,
I know this is the one. And you can play with the dial. It's absolutely mesmerizing.
so last but not least,
Yeah.
you showed me something which I really liked, and I like to collect stuff, and I think my audience appreciates seeing beautiful things as well. You have a niece, and she also got the watch bug a bit from you, probably,
Yeah.
and she is very talented in drawing.
Oh my God.
And you show me a painting which is for sale.
Can I bring
basically.
it now?
Yes, please,
Okay.
please. So what I want to do, guys, basically now, you tell us the story about your niece, and I want everybody that wants to purchase this piece, basically go in description. I'm going to put a link to her Instagram, and we will run a 1-week auction. I'm going to start the bid with 500.
Wow.
So please don't bid more because I want it. But for any of you watching, if you want this, comment on her Instagram, basically.
Yeah.
That's it.
So
Tell us
I
what's...
really want to highlight something. So she is 15 years old. I told her, you know what? I really want to buy stuff from you to finance your studies and stuff. So right now, because I'm not good at communication and stuff, I'm buying a lot from her. So she designed some CDs for me, my cars, and she said, you know what? I really want to try a timepiece. Yeah. So give me a picture and then I'll work on it. Gorgeous. And I like to push the limits always. So I said, you know what? I'm going to use the blue sapphires bridges from the bitumen and see if she can do something with it.
Because it's difficult, huh?
It's super difficult.
And there's some gears on the painting which are more 3D.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it, but it's kind of 3D. She's 15 years old. She does drawing and paintings for it's been maybe 7-8 years now.
Yeah.
She's really talented. I really want to support her. So I have a lot.
Incredible. I can barely draw a stick figure, Jason.
Same here.
to see a young person again to be bitten by this watch bug and bring that to this kind of creative expression, I think is amazing. And I just shared the link to her Instagram account right here as well. If you guys want to take a look at her work more broadly, but especially if you want to bid on that auction, the most recent post is about that specifically. So if you would like to participate in that and support the work of a young artist out of Switzerland who is connected not only through her uncle, but also through her own art to the horological world, that is a great opportunity.
Thank you very much.
A lot of things coming from her, and I really appreciate the fact,
of course,
Broski, that you do this. It's gonna help her for sure. And again, this is to finance her study. So
let's go, guys.
It means a lot.
This is for a very good cause. Yeah. She can also paint other stuff if you have your watch you want to be painted on. Yeah. But again, with the gears, I think it's very cool. So again, link in description, all the instructions there. Let's help her reach some more subscribers and followers. And that's it. I think we should use the channel and, if you guys love it, bid on it. It's that easy. Again, I started 500. So
I gotta say something, Jean. I'm really sorry because it was supposed to be mine. It was Marco's idea. I really love this idea to encourage you and thank you
Yes.
again for doing this.
I think we should just help her
So-
out and get as much as possible. That's it. Awesome, bro. I mean, listen, thank you for coming here. I really appreciate you.
And also, of course, there's this auction, but for whatever reason you miss out on it, your bid might not be the highest. You can still support her work by at least following the Instagram account, but perhaps even commissioning some kind of work. Would that be possible, Jason?
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. They just people just have to take into consideration that she's a student, so she's gonna do it on her spare time off, maybe during the weekend. So it might take some time, but for sure she's gonna do it.
Amazing. This is great to know. Of course, that painting is ready to go, right? It's like
Yeah, this one is
buying
ready.
an independent brand on auction as well. Right? If you can't wait, the usual lead time, exactly the same logic.
Like
It's
Again,
nice to see the watches in
yeah,
one place.
this is my journey, but it's also thanks to the people that we can really appreciate this. I remember the first time we met, and you have such a beautiful journey too. And I have this quote from Warren Buffett. Will we like him or not? But if someone's sitting in the shade today, someone has been planting trees years ago.
You never know.
Yeah,
You never know,
So I
exactly.
feel that I'm planting trees for sure. I feel that you're doing the same.
Yes.
So again,
Just
I cannot
salt baying those ideas around.
So congratulations again,
Awesome.
and
That was
thank
a
you
good
very
one,
much
huh?
for having me.
Thank you for coming. And guys, also check out his channels. I'm going to put the link in the description below. Art Curacy and also your personal thing. And again, let me know which watch was your favorite. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
This was amazing. Jason, it's 4 a.m.
It's 4 a.m.
So
And I have a
I've
call at
already
8, so I gotta be.
I have already taken so much of your time, so I'm not gonna press for anything, but I'm gonna drop. I'll just ask for likes from the audience who may not have pressed the button yet. I'll drop your links once again for Art Curacy. This is Jason's company that is focused especially in pioneering and bringing into focus, bringing into public exposure some of the new and up-and-coming independent makers. His personal account, Holy Wrists, is also quite wonderful, so check that out. I'm gonna drop that link next. And obviously, I've just shared the link to his niece's account, who is a young artist, still a student, whose beautiful painting of De Bethune is up for auction. How much time is left on that?
So it's got to be 6 days.
Okay. Great.
All
Jason,
right.
thank you so much. You gave me 2 hours of your early morning, literally. So I'm much obliged. Hopefully next time I see you, probably in April.
Oh yeah.
I can make it up.
Yeah.
So
it was a great pleasure sharing this time with you, thoughts, words with you. It's not an exercise I'm used to talking about myself, but I'm pretty sure I have to work on it a bit more. So it's always funny to talk about you with people sharing the same values. So I feel a bit more comfortable like this. So thank you for having me.
I really appreciate that. But of course, you are being too humble. You are right at home. Obviously, you are at home on this channel, on this platform, whenever you like, without even announcing.
Thank you very much.
But we are also grateful that you came here to share your passion about independent watchmaking, and the arts and craft and the tradition that sustains that. And because you have this passion to further that tradition, to teach more people about it, it really comes naturally to you. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much for everything, and I want to see you in Switzerland next time.
In April, we will hopefully we will
Beautiful.
spend some more time.
Amazing.
I'm looking forward to it already.
So am I.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Have a
everybody.
great evening, and see you soon.
Thanks. Good night to everyone who is listening from the US, and a good morning to Europe. Along with Jason, hopefully you will get some sleep in the meantime, and I will see the rest of you in the next one. Please hit the like button. Continue wearing and actually enjoying your watches. Take care.
Amazing. Bye. Bye.